All right. Oh, he's just connecting his audio. Welcome, David. I've just told everybody a little bit about you. Thanks for joining us today for Leapin 2020 Accelerator. Happy to have you join us, and it's nice to finally see your face after so long. You've got a haircut, I see. It's crazy. Oh, I think you're muted. There we go.
Yes, they just gave me the unmute. I'm just checking the audio. We have, if you can hear it, there's a whole bunch of construction outside.
No,
so I will apologize in advance if I get drowned out a little bit. What's happening, guys?
Say hi, everybody.
How are you?
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, everybody.
What's going
Like
on?
your haircut.
So,
Hey, Jared.
Hey.
You guys doing all right?
So David,
We're super awake. Our energy level right now is
as good as we can be locked inside, right?
This is it. You got it. That is okay. Now look, I'm going through here. You guys, you have a good crew, eh?
We sure do. A lot of
We're
great.
quite happy with them.
So, Dave, I'll defer back to you. How do you want to do this? Are we doing introductions around the board? Do you want me to get into something?
I think
What's the best way to go?
I think we can do a quick introduction. Just say who you are, who your business is. Love to get you to learn a little bit more about everybody, Dave. So we'll go around the board. Let everybody kind of say who they are. You don't have to do your full value prop. Just kind of say what your business is, and then I'll let you kind of take over with what you want to share with us today, Dave.
Sounds great.
I didn't know if I had your bio. I didn't know if you wanted to elaborate on that a little bit, maybe first, and it's up to you. I don't know what format you have.
I'll do. Well, why don't we get all of your team to do their introductions? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get some headphones because it's getting loud back here.
No problem.
Can you guys hear me okay now? Give me some voices on an audio check.
We can hear you.
Sir.
Excellent. There we go. Thank you. Okay. All right, cool. So let's go around the horn. Let's hear who we got.
Okay. You can call them out, David. You can pick on everybody today. I've already done it twice.
Okay. So I see. I'm gonna just go with the Zoom list. What I see up here. I see Aaron, and he's got Fast Track.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
My name's Aaron. I'm here with Omar, and we're the founders of Fast Track. Fast Track is a mobile application to help delivery drivers plan their routes. It's just a quick and easy way for them to add all the packages, have an optimized planned route for them, and then just help them get through their day.
Beautiful. Cool. Thanks, Aaron. And you said that's you and Omar?
Yep.
Very cool. Okay. Next up, Jared. You are with JR Welding.
Yeah, JR Welding, specialized in custom fabrication and doing it all.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's going good.
That's what I like to hear. Okay. And is it Swaraj? Oh, we might be on mute.
You're on mute, Raj.
Very close. Yeah.
How do you pronounce that?
Suraj.
Siraj.
Yeah.
Got it? Okay.
Perfect. So hi, I'm Suraj. I'm the co-founder of Taxably. We are a tech-based accounting firm based in London, where we created a platform for all individuals to file their taxes and for their accounting needs, to help them out so that they can file the taxes from home, submit their information online, and one of our tax preparers help them out, prepare their returns, and they can sign off. Everything is done electronically and also done in a paperless manner.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. As I keep scrolling through, I've got Jesse the Hot Sauce.
I am my name's Jesse. I am the founder of the Hot Sauce Company. We're just we're a local hot sauce company here. All fresh ingredients, try and do everything as natural as possible and kind of just get people refocused on putting good stuff into their bodies.
I like it. Okay. Natural and fresh. All right, Maxwell, you're face-to-face vintage?
Yes.
Okay.
So I sell use brand name clothing as well as vintage clothing.
Okay.
I'm kind of trying to push fast fashion out of the way and create a better online alternative to that.
I like it. Okay. All right. And Kristen, you have Soul Runners.
Hey, nice to meet you. So yeah, we
Nice to meet
teach
you.
guided running programs and fitness programs to people of all fitness levels.
Oh, nice. Okay. And Charlene, you're on the Real Model Mom.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Real Model Mom teaches people how to enter the entertainment business and gives them all the confidence they need to go on a job and basically kill it.
I like that. Okay. All right. And Andre, it looks like you're Leap Junction. Oh.
Yeah, I'm part of the Leap staff.
I was gonna say we know each other.
Yeah.
Hey. Charlene, it looked like you might still have been talking there, but there's no audio coming through.
Oh, it's okay.
I didn't cut you off there?
No, I'm fine. Thanks. Sorry, I have 4 kids running around, so
I completely understand. All right, let me see. All of a sudden my order just flipped around. So Omar, you're in with Aaron on Fast Track. Anything you want to add?
No, I think you basically said it all. We're basically just an application that could potentially save drivers up to 30% of their day, scanning all their packages and just helping deliver.
Beautiful. Beautiful. This is the right time for that, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And Kelly, you're with Studio KVR?
Yep. So I run a ceramics and light design company.
Okay.
And everything is a small batch, handmade. So, and artfully designed as well.
Very cool. Is that what's going on in the background there?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is my studio. So
Gorgeous.
I guess there's my wheel right there, and then there's a kiln in the back. So this is where the magic happens.
Nice. Okay. All right. And Tyler, I don't see an image, but are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can indeed. How's it going?
Good, good. Nice to meet you, sir.
And
my
you?
name's Tyler French. Good. My name's Tyler French, owner, celebration, event facility, and museum. And it's going to be Indigenous owned and operated out of Chippewa Thames First Nation, which is 30 minutes west of London. And our goal is to bring Native Indigenous artifacts back to their home while teaching the history about our people, while also specializing in outdoor weddings.
Very cool. All right. Now, I'm just, the list got all swapped as we were going through here. So I'm just going to go back and make sure. I think I got everybody. Is there anybody that I missed?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll call out some names. You tell me if I missed anyone. Aaron, Omar, Jared, Siraj, Jesse, Maxwell, Kristen, Charlene, Andre, Kelly, Tyler, and then Dave and Kelsey.
Yep, that's everyone.
All right, cool. All right, and my name's Dave Moreland. My full-time day job is up in the Killen School of Business at Fanshawe. I teach in the entrepreneurship program. I'm the coordinator for the entrepreneurship program, as well as our payroll and bookkeeping program and our professional accounting program. So that's my day job. My background, before I started teaching, I spent the majority of my career at IBM. I was on the tech side of things, and then I moved into sales, which was a lot of fun. I went to school out in the Maritimes, Acadia, if you guys know Acadia at all, that's where I went to school. And I grew up in Toronto. So I've had a chance to kind of be all over the place. When I'm not working, I love playing basketball. I love coaching basketball, and my wife and I have our own photography business. So that's if I was gonna run down a lot of things real fast, that would be how I'd do it.
Super
Good times, eh?
Dave, it's wild. I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn about some other new skill that you have.
Hopefully not, but maybe. Cool. Okay. So, what do we want to do next? You want me to? Should we walk through a story?
Yeah, you have the floor. So whatever the format is that you'd like to take, go for it.
Okay. So for everybody who's part of the incubator or the accelerator, I should say, all of you have an idea. All of you have probably, if I were going to guess, you've all probably had hundreds of ideas, and you've recently figured out, okay, this is the one that I'm going to do. And the first one is going to be, okay, why did I do it? Give me a show of hands as best you can. Just kind of do one of these. How many people pick something, man, I just love doing this. Let's go do it. This is the thing I love. Don't put your hand up because you think that's what I want you to say. I just want to know. Okay, a lot of people love it. How many people are doing it because, like, you know what, man, I just want to make some money? How many people just want to go get paid?
Can it be a combo?
Of course it can be a combo. I hope if you want to do a business, you're going to try to make some money in the process of this whole thing. Okay? Okay, there we go. Okay. So this is good. One of the hard things early. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. One of the hard things that happens early is that we know, generally speaking, we want to be good people, and we have these great ideas, and we know that money is the root of all evil, and so you got to be really careful with that. And that is, I don't know, that's probably maybe true, but I'll tell you, your business isn't going to work very well if you're not earning. So you want to keep that sort of front and center as you're going along. For me, my very first business happened as I was in my last year of high school. For some of the folks in the incubator, you are not that far removed from your very last year of high school. For some folks, we are a little bit more removed from that. My very least favorite thing about that period of my life, I had learned I was going to be going to Acadia, which was really great. And for everybody who's ever gone to school after high school knows, it comes with things like tuition and figuring out how you're going to pay to exist. And that is a terrible feeling because it's hard and minimum wage sucks. And trying to get through that becomes really tricky. So for me, I at the time was working at a place that was like a Foot Locker. And I'm going to walk you through a story that started while I was working at Foot Locker. But what I want you to do is I want you to envision it in your head when you're doing it as if it's you. So I want you to walk through this story. I'll try to tell it in the second person. And I'll just walk you through the journey that I went through. Everything in this story is more or less real. It's all based on facts and things that happened. I will change a few things, names to protect the innocent and the guilty, and a few things just to make the story flow a little smoother. But this is a real story. So if you're with me right now, I need you to grab a pen and paper because there's going to be some questions. And you guys are going to give me some answers. Thank you, Jesse. And this is where it begins. You're 18 years old. You are dead broke. You know that you have a ton of bills that are going to be coming up in the next 4 or 5 months. And you're working at a place like Foot Locker. You are selling some sneakers. And it turns out you're doing okay selling sneakers. They have different metrics. It's always good to have metrics to figure out what you're selling. They have metrics there. And one of the things is called items per transaction, which means every time you sell something, do you sell one thing or can you sell many things? As we know, when we are selling things, certain things make a lot of profit and certain things don't make that much profit. If you were to walk into a Foot Locker, for example, and buy a pair of shoes, you might spend like $200 on a pair of shoes. $200 is a lot of money. Does anybody have any idea? And you guys can, Dave, I'm going to let you navigate this, how to let people sort of interact here. What percentage of a $200 pair of shoes is profit if you were to buy some sneakers?
Just raise your hand if you want to go for it. 40% from Kelsey. Yeah, you can put it in the chat too, or use your board. We've got.
Now I'm looking around. Now I want to know how to do all this. How do I?
5% from Jesse, 20% from Jared. So if you open up the chat, Dave, you can see everybody's populating their answer in there.
I'm gonna go down. Oh, okay. So now I can put the chat over here. I can see you guys on the right. Gotcha. Okay. So, and this is always going to depend on the brand, the pair of shoes, and everything. The answer is, generally speaking, on a high-end pair of shoes when it first comes out, after they pay all the R&D and everything, it's about 10%. It's not very much, which means on a $200 pair of shoes, you make $20, right? What's the one thing for anybody who's ever bought a pair of shoes? What else are you going to try to be sold when you go and buy that pair of shoes?
Socks.
Yeah. Do you know what the profit margin on socks is? It's close to 90%. So if I get you a 3-pack of socks for 20 bucks, you make $18. They make almost as much money on that pair of socks as they do on that $200 pair of shoes. It becomes really important. If you like the nice clean whites, if you like things like the old school Stan Smiths or the Air Force Ones, we want to get you buying some of that nice white shoe polish that you use with your toothbrush, right? That's all profitability. And so that was one of those things that I did well, right? So you're working in athletes world, people are coming in, they all want to come in for shoes, but what you want to get to them is you want to make sure you get some socks, and you want to make sure, if you can, you add some other things, maybe a sales shirt, maybe a nice hoodie, something like that. And so that's what you do day in and day out. And you're working for minimum wage, and minimum wage at the time is just a little bit less than $7. And then someone walks in. This is one of the most attractive people you have ever seen. And on days like that, this is a really good day to be working at a Foot Locker. Because if when you were in your last year of high school, you were anything like me, it was like, man, it's hard to go up and talk to people that are attractive. Like, I don't know what to say to them. But when you're working, man, it's perfect. I can talk about work stuff. Like, for me, her name was Vanessa. For you, it will be somebody different. And now I have a reason to go up and talk to her. Okay, man, let's talk about some shoes. So anyway, things go really well. In like 15 minutes, Vanessa's going to buy a pair of shoes. She wants a shirt. She wants a hoodie. She got some new laces. She's going to be looking really good. Do you know why? Do you know why it is that she wants to buy all this stuff? She has to get really good shoes. Vanessa tells me that she runs a rickshaw. That's what she does. Do you guys know what a rickshaw is? Give me a show of hands if you know a rickshaw. And Dave, this is the part where I ask you, can you help me out? Would you mind putting that picture up?
There you go.
Hey, so that's a rickshaw. That's not Vanessa, by the way. Okay, this is a rickshaw. It's a cart. You can put it up one more time.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's all good. So this is a rickshaw, and what you do, it is a taxi cab, but instead of riding in an actual car, what you get to do is you ride in this cart that is pulled by a human. In this case, that human was Vanessa. And you can see, I'm trying to point to it, like you guys can see where I'm pointing on the screen. There's a bar that attaches to this cart. The people sit in the back, and then the person goes forward. Okay, any questions about what a rickshaw is? We're good with that? Okay, cool. All right, Dave, you can take that down now. And so Vanessa says to me, she goes, or I'm sorry, the second person, Vanessa says to you, she goes, wow, you're really good. You're really good at sales. And you give the humble, like, oh, thanks. But you know what? Good product sells itself. And she goes, no. Have you ever thought about running a rickshaw before? Now, that was a real question that happened in real time. Give me a show of hands. How many of you have ever thought about running a rickshaw before? Anybody? No? Okay, so obviously not. That looks terrible. That looks like you pulling people around in the hot sun all day. And so I, think about it. And you say to her, nope, not really something. And so she says, well, how much do you make here? And you know how you speak when you're trying to impress somebody, right? This is somebody who says, oh, wow, this person's attractive. I gotta lay an impression. So you're gonna bulk up your numbers a little bit. I can't be saying minimum wage. I'm making this good commission. I'm not making $7 an hour. I'm probably making, I make like $9 an hour. So she looks at me and she says, or she looks at you, I'm sorry, I keep getting this wrong. She looks at you and she says, well, how would you like to make $20 an hour? How many people right now would like to make $20 an hour? Come on, 20? 20 is good. So absolutely, I'd like to make $20 an hour. She says, well, listen, with the way that you sell, why don't you come down, you come check out rickshawing. We can really make a lot more money than we're making it at Foot Locker. And in your head, you're probably going, I don't want a rickshaw. But in your head, you're going, so that means we get to hang out more? Which means yes, of course. Let's go check this out. And so for me, that's the genesis of the opportunity. I had no idea. It was not every idea will come from somewhere. You might have a great idea in your head. Somebody might present you an opportunity like this. But the first question is, when you look at it, what is the opportunity? And then you start thinking, okay, is this a business? Can I do this? Right? Give me a show of hands. You guys have thought this through? Can I do this? It sounds easy, but like, I want to make sure everybody's good. Because at the time when you were 18 and you were thinking about Rickshaw, you were not thinking this through. And so you said, okay, cool. Let's go take a look at it. Vanessa says, fantastic. I want you to meet a friend of mine. My friend's name is Stubbs, real name. Stubbs. Anybody know somebody named Stubbs? It's a bizarre name. Stubbs got his name because he was a ticket scalper. So he was hustling tickets, and he moved into a business where he has a whole bunch of rickshaws. So Vanessa takes you downtown to a garage, big giant garage. And when you open the side door, inside this garage, there are 200 rickshaws. And Stubbs's business is to own the rickshaws, and then he rents them out to people who want to run around pulling rickshaws. And so you go down to meet Stubbs. So you say, okay, this is cool. I see startup is pretty low. I don't need a garage. I don't need a rickshaw. All I have to do is pay this rent, which is great. Vanessa seems awesome. She introduces you to Stubbs. Stubbs seems cool. You get down to business. And the next question is, okay, and this is what I want you to do for your business. When would you know your business was successful? Give me two people who can actually tell me this. How would you know if what you were doing was a success?
Are you asking, or are you wanting us to write this down?
Either one, but I see it looks like Omar has his hand up.
I definitely think when you have satisfied repetitive customers.
Okay, that'll be, so it's a totally subjective thing. That's how you'll feel like you made it. You have satisfied repetitive customers.
Making money.
Okay, Jared's just gonna say, I just know I'm successful and I'm making money, but the question is how much? Okay, you don't need to tell me now, but you're gonna try to figure out how much money am I making? Okay, that's another one. Give me one more person. How do you know when something's a success?
When you're having pleasure doing what you're doing.
I just like it, right? Yeah, these are all totally good ways to do it. For me, the business was going to be successful when Vanessa decided to go to the movies with me. I was not thinking any further ahead than that. But then I meet Stubbs, and this is the part where it gets really interesting. Vanessa leaves the story, and it ceases to matter anymore. You meet Stubbs. Stubbs is amazingly charismatic. And what Stubbs explains to you is the way this system works is every Saturday night, you're going to give him $500. And for $500, you get to rent the rickshaw and have access to the garage. And then you get to use it as much or as little as you want. Okay, so $500, when you're making $7 an hour minimum wage, 40 hours a week is $280 total paycheck at the end of the week. $500 is 2 weeks full pay working at Foot Locker. So the question is, what is your startup cost? Is that acceptable to you? So that sounded atrocious to me, and I wanted no part of it. And I was like, yeah, it's been fun. Let's get out of here. But you are not me. You go, can I try it out for today? And Stubbs says, yep, go right to it. He goes, I'll just charge you a one-day rate if it doesn't work out. You go out there and work. And so what you did, you said, okay, I'll go out there and do this. You literally thought no more of it than that. Vanessa was going to run with you. And you worked for 2 hours. And do you know how much money you made? $60. You got two rides, a $20 ride and a $40 ride. And in 2 hours, you made $60, which again, in 8 hours at Foot Locker, you were going to make $56. So in 2 hours, you made way more than working there, and you had no experience. You had no idea what you're doing. And you came back so fired up, you would have given Stubbs $500 right there, right then and there. It's done. There's too much money on the table right now. Let's go. Thankfully, you did not do that. What you did, though, was you started asking questions. So it was cool you let me go and play in traffic like that, Stubbs. Thank you. But what kind of things do I need? Do I need to have a license? Am I a vehicle out on the road? And Stubbs says, yes, absolutely. You have to go down. You got to go to the city. So this is happening in Toronto. You got to go down. You got to get a permit from the city. and you'll pay them about $100, and they will give you what's called a pedicab driver's license. And once you have your pedicab driver's license, then you can go out and work. And you say, okay, great. I'll be honest, I wasn't really paying attention when I was out there those last 2 hours. How much do I charge? What do I do? The way Rickshaw works is you get $5 per block per person. So if you get a family of 4, if you get 2 parents and 2 kids, you get $20 per block. If you were to jog down the block, let me check here. Kristen, you're a runner. Tell me, how long does it take you to jog for a block?
It depends how long the block is. Like, I don't know, 2.5 to 5 minutes.
Just a regular block? Like if you were in downtown
I usually do trails. So I don't
oh, okay. What if I told you it's going to be about 50 yards?
How many kilometers is that?
0.05.
No time at all.
Right. Yeah, like it'll take you, if you were to walk a block in downtown London, it might take you 20 seconds, 30 seconds. It's not far. And so what you find out is, wait a second, hold on. So for 30 seconds work, I can make $20. Now, this idea seems really feasible. Like, holy cow, I can make $20 in 30 seconds. That's $40 a minute. Multiply that by 60. Anybody want to make that kind of money? Does that sound good? No? Everybody's kind of like, yeah, okay. Thank you.
I think everyone's like, what's the catch?
That's exactly right? That should be the question. How is this possible? And so Stubbs is telling us, okay, you can go at $5 per block per person. You can make a crazy amount of money. You just have to go get your license. And then you go, wait, if I have to get a license, then I'm a vehicle. And you're looking at Stubbs going, but if I'm a vehicle, you probably have to have insurance, right? You guys would go get insurance for this, right? Dave, can you do me a favor? Can you put that picture of the rickshaw up again, please? Okay, so this is where it becomes really, really important. Once you've established what you will deem successful and you know when you are a success, you've got to figure out, okay, now can I actually make enough money? Are there costs? Are there requirements like the license? How do I get paid? All of that is very, very important. The next thing is, how badly do you want to succeed? How badly do you want to achieve the things that you're talking about, that you're going to do? For me, this wasn't an idea that I came up with. It was one that was presented to me. This wasn't an idea that I was passionate about. I just kind of did it, to go along and meet somebody. But now, if you think about sitting in that same position, this idea was now about getting paid. This was an idea that if I can execute it, I can really make some money. How much is that worth to you, right? For Jared, who said it's absolutely about getting paid, money becomes an important thing. But for Aaron, who said, you know what, it's more about personal satisfaction. We've got to figure out how much we will commit for that. How badly do we want to be successful? And this moment came very early in the rickshaw business. You looked at Stubbs and you said, wait, I'm a vehicle, so do I need insurance? And do you know what Stubbs said to you? He looked at you and said, nah, don't worry about that. And you look back at Stubbs and said, no, like, I mean, is there an insurance company I go to? Who do I go to for that? Where would I set it up? Like, I'm not worried about paying for some insurance. And Stubbs looks at you and he goes, nah, don't worry about that. Now, after somebody tells you don't worry about it like that twice, how many people are starting to worry about this? Give me a show of hands on the camera if you're worried about where our insurance issue is. Okay. And I was like, no, Stubbs, like, now I am worried. Can you tell me what's going on? Stubbs looks you dead in the eye, and this is where I need you to look at that rickshaw. Look at the gentleman who's pulling the rickshaw in the picture, and you see that bar that he's holding on to? Stubbs says, you see that bar? He goes, if you get in an accident in traffic, if a car clips your wheel at all, that bar is going to slice you right in half. No amount of insurance is bringing you back. Okay. All right. How many people are thinking, wow, this job sounds good, I'm in? Aaron's putting his hand up. He's going, yeah. $40 a minute? My life isn't worth that.
We're 19 at this age, right?
We are 18, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I would 100% be in.
This was, unfortunately, this is where the story goes. Because right then,
you have the moment in your head where you go, okay, am I going to do this? This is all or nothing. And it was like, okay, so no insurance, let's go. And so you decide, yeah, I'm going to go ahead with this. What are you willing to risk? Well, at this point, you're willing to risk your life. How deeply are you willing to commit to it? Well, really quickly, what you did was you went to the Folks to Athletes World and you said, you need to reduce my shifts. I can't do 40 hours a week anymore. And they said, well, we'll keep you on payroll, but we'll give you one 4-hour shift a week. So, okay, cool. The next thing you go is, what are you willing to sacrifice for it? Well, you have no idea what this business is yet. You have no idea how you're going to make any money or what it is. So really, you're going to sacrifice your time. You're going to say, I'm going to put whatever I can in. How many people already feel this way about your business? I will put every minute I can into my business. I just love doing this thing, right? I want to be successful. Because that's going to be the other thing, especially early. It's going to take everything, and it's going to wear a mental toll on you. In the case of the rickshaw business you're looking at, you're going, yeah, I mean, it's the summertime. I don't really have anything else to do. So you get the rickshaw, you start working. You haven't even thought through things like, who is my market? Stubbs has this garage downtown. You take your rickshaw out, and you just start wandering the streets. You get out there around lunchtime. You just walk around. And you're trying to pitch every single person who walks by. Hey, do you want to ride? Hey, do you want to ride? Has anybody ever seen the rickshaws in downtown Toronto, by the way? Anybody? I can only see 5 people's hands on here. Any hands? Where do we typically see them if we see the rickshaws?
Around parks or landmarks.
Yeah, what kind of landmarks, Charlie?
Big ones like CN Tower, or I saw them a lot in New York, actually, around what is it, Madison Square Gardens.
That's exactly right. This is exactly right. So they post up anywhere where there's major landmarks, and they do that because, generally speaking, there are a lot of people there who need some sort of transportation, and this is a cool experience. Now, here's the next part I want you to think about. If you were a client, if you were going to be somebody, and a guy is going to come up to you, and I was looking classy, which means in this story, you were looking classy as you're pulling the rickshaw around. You were in a pair of running shorts and like a tank top, because it is sweltering hot. And the heat's coming off, and you are going to charge somebody $20 for 30 seconds of work. Would you ever pay that money to go on a rickshaw? By a show of hands, how many people would pay that money? Okay, put them down. By a show of hands, how many people would absolutely not pay that money? Yeah, come on now. This is really important. You have to figure out when you're selling, depending on how you determine your price, it's not going to be for everyone. Sometimes your price will be too high, and you need to believe in the value of what you're selling, right? What you're selling doesn't have to be Walmart. It doesn't have to be the cheapest thing going. For some of you, that will actually be your value proposition. I want to have something that's really valuable. But for others, as you're walking around there trying to pitch this rickshaw, this $20 for 30 seconds, people are giving you no, 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 no. Generally speaking, the rule out on the street was that if you could get one yes out of every 100 pitches, you did well. And that was generally right. But it is mentally taxing hearing no, 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 no. You will deal with it in your business. How many of you have had to go and get, you've had to go to the bank, you've had to go get a loan, you had to go try to pitch your business to get some money? Anybody tried to do that yet? I only see Dave.
We all did to get in here.
You guys all had to pitch a little bit to get in here. Very good. The thing with when you're pitching, the questions that are going to be asked to you are going to make you feel like they don't believe in your business. Why would this succeed? Are you sure that will work? I don't know if there's a market for that. The problem isn't when they're questioning it. The problem isn't when those are coming. The problem comes when they stop asking the questions, because that is when they stop being interested. But you've got to overcome all these mental hurdles, which is tough. When you were out there running that rickshaw, hearing no over and over again, that wears you down mentally. I would rather people actually want to do what I'm doing. Can you deal with all that rejection? Because that's going to come early. You'll overcome it. Don't worry about it. But you've got to deal with it first. So you're out there and you're trying to pitch, and you don't really know who the market is, but it seems like all the rickshaws there, they're down at the Rogers Center, they're down at the CN Tower. You can just hang around there. And it works okay. It works okay. You can get a few here and there, but honestly, at about lunchtime, it's going to be until one of those games starts. And the real money for your first week only got made on the weekend. Your weekdays, you probably should have been working for minimum wage back at Foot Locker, which is kind of a bummer and it's kind of hard. But it'll work out. On the plus side, you're 18, you're almost 19. There's one scene that you know pretty well. That is the bar scene. How many people know about the bar scene a little bit? What time do bars close generally? About 2 a.m.?
Yeah, 2 a.m.-ish.
Yep. 2 a.m. is when the bars shut down. And so, you know when is a good time to work? If you have a rickshaw, if you sell something that costs way too much, work a bar close. Wait until everybody's had a few drinks. Now, I need all of you guys actually to put your hand up for this one. How many people ever had some drinks and then made some questionable choices? How many people were a little bit reckless with the money that was in their wallet while they were having a few drinks? I just went for a drink. I just had one beer. Why do I have a $100 tab? How did that work out? Everybody's gone through that at one point or another. You know when the right time to sell something overpriced is? It's at about 2:15 a.m. as the bars close. And so you realize that's the first target market that you can see as you're running this rickshaw business. If I can put this really cool experience in front of people who have had a few drinks and might actually appreciate it, which is the same as anytime somebody's walked around the bar and had those little test tubes that look really cool, they're like glowing red, and you thought that was a good idea, that's how that works. Here's the next question. How do your morals and your ethics factor into this? Let me ask you right now, how many people are looking at that going, I don't think I should be selling to people who are in an inebriated state? How many people see that as a problem? Right? That's a problem. When you're thinking this through, whatever your business idea is, you've got to know, okay, what rules will you absolutely live and die by? Which rules are you willing to bend? And which ones are you willing to break entirely? Where do your morals and ethics fit in all the way across the board? There is not a right or wrong answer. You will succeed if you believe hyper strongly in those things, and you will find a way to succeed even if you don't. But the only way that you're actually going to find your own happiness is if you know those things. You're not going to be able to live with yourself if you start bending where you can't. Okay? So that's one. On the plus side, when you were 18 running that rickshaw, oh man, please, I will absolutely sell to people who've been drinking. That's no problem. Now, the next thing is, how do you pitch somebody, right? What you're working on with Dave and Kelsey is figuring out, how do I pitch this business? How do I make people want to either invest or buy or be interested? When you were running that rickshaw, you're saying, oh man, this is a great experience. Very few people get to actually do this. It'll be super neat. We'll have a lot of fun. People aren't just piling in. You want everybody to want in. 2:15 in the morning, you are going to get one. You will get one specific ride. And that's going to be about it, because once you get them back to wherever they want to go, maybe it's a bus station, whatever, by the time you go back to the bar, everybody's going to be gone. So you get one ride, you got to get a good one. Generally speaking, you're not going to get 4 people. You're going to get about 2 people. You're going to try to get a couple in there. You have to make sure that your sales pitch is airtight. You have to know how it rolls, and you have to know how people are going to react to it. You guys remember the morals and the ethics thing I talked to you about a second ago? So here's a good moral one. Okay? Please don't do this ever. Couple walks out of the bar. You look at them, they look like they're having a really good time together. They probably just met. You guys know this when you see 2 people who've just met and they've really connected and they are really like at the hip together. That was perfect. That was the first target market you could pick up when you were running that rickshaw. And so you would look at them and say, and generally, again, hyper stereotypical here, you're going to look at the gentleman and you're going to say, hey, do you guys want to go for a rickshaw ride? Great way to end the night. And what's he going to say?
No thanks.
Jared's shaking his head. We're going to pitch. I'm going to pitch. You should spend an extra $100 tonight. What do you think this gentleman is going to say to you?
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. No, thank you. And then you know what you're going to do? You're going to look at her And then you're going to look back at him and you're going to ask him, what? She's not worth it? How do you think that's going to go over? Dave, why are you clapping? I'm not sure about this clapping that's happening on your icon. I'm going to tell you, there's only, oh, wait, hold on. What is the recording device over here? I've got a red dot. Anyway, if you do that, there's only about 2 ways. Was that going from the very beginning?
Yes.
Oh, I only saw it when your clapping thing happened. Okay, anyway, there's only 2 ways that a pitch like that is actually going to work for you. There's only 2 ways it ends. What are the 2 ways that it ends?
Yes or no?
Well, yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yes, if you get the yes, you win, which is great. Usually it did work that way. What happens if you get no? What happens when...
Upset.
What's that?
She's upset.
Well, she's going to be upset. That's correct. That's not really going to impact you as the rickshaw runner in this scenario. What happens when you get a gentleman who has had too much to drink and then is being openly questioned in front of somebody he's really trying to impress?
Aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably going to be a fight. Is that a tactic you want to take? I'm going to give you the short answer to that. Don't do that. No, you should not do this. But will you make poor judgments in along this process because you want to make it so badly? You want your business to work. The answer to that is yeah. You're going to compromise things you shouldn't. You're going to make decisions where you say, hey, you know that expression where you measure twice, cut once? You will not. You will cut once, and then you will cut a second time, and then you'll realize you should have measured at some point along the way. But this is the process of getting started. Okay? You want to be really airtight on what your pitch is, and you want to be really airtight on what happens after you make that pitch. So that all comes together. That was your first target market. It worked really well. And it was enough to keep you going. It was certainly making you more money than if you were still working at Foot Locker. But then you go, okay, this business right now, we are super erratic. We are super erratic. Bar closes consistent. Every night, 2:15, we can get paid. If there's an event, right? So if the Jays are playing, or if there's something big going on down in the theater district, okay, we can probably get there. I need another target market. And you actually stumble across your other target market by accident when you're working down by Rogers Center, because you get a lot of people who are going from the Rogers Center down the street. They're going a few blocks down to Union Station. And what you find out is a lot of people who are actually taking rickshaws are tourists. When you think about that, that starts to make a little bit more sense, right? If you lived in an area, you probably don't pay for a rickshaw for a cool experience there. But if you were out on vacation and you knew you were spending a little bit of money already, okay, maybe tourists are, yeah, okay, this could work. This could work. Tourists are good. It's hard to figure out how that's going to become consistent. But if you had to go someplace you knew tourists were, right? So when you think about your target market, we want to know, where are they? When this was happening, if we're talking about 20 years ago, it was very geographic specific. But in this crowd of leapers, we've got a bunch of people who are mobile app focused, which means, are you hyper geographic specific all the time? Some businesses will be, but some of you guys will be global. And so you've got to know where they are. And where they are might mean a specific geography, but it might also mean a specific digital space, right? Your clientele might actually be in the App Store, might be in Google Play, depending. But you want to know, where is your target market? So I have one target market that I know is at the bars. The other target market are going to be tourists. And here's the next question. Where am I going to find tourists? Think about that in your head. If you were trying to find tourists, where would you find them? Who's got an idea for some tourists?
A big game or a hotel?
Yeah, a big game or a hotel, right? That's where we've accidentally found them already. We were around the big games. And why do we think a hotel's a good spot? Where do tourists stay, right?
To sleep somewhere.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So hotels made total sense. So you looked at yourself and you said, okay, I got to work this hard. And so you started hanging out in front of the nicest hotels you could find. If there was a Ritz-Carlton, if there was a Delta, get us in front of those hotels, because those are the people who have the wallets that are thick enough that are going to pay for something like a rickshaw. And it works to a degree. You find out that dinner in a movie or dinner in a show, something like that, as long as you're there at supper time, you're going to do really well. And so you're there all day round in your running shorts and your tank top. And that lasts for about 3 days, which is great. And then what happens? What do you think the Ritz-Carlton thinks of you in your running shorts and your cutoff t-shirt? Is that helping their brand? No, really quickly, they kick you out of there. You are no longer welcome on the premises because two things happen. Number one, you can't be there doing that. And number two, when it started working, a whole lot of other rickshaws saw that. And so there were many rickshaws now swarming really nice hotels. You guys got to go. Okay, so the next thing we have to focus on, attire, right? You want to make sure that your attire is appropriate for what it is that you're doing. So I'm not telling everybody to go put a suit and tie on. I can't run around. I can't run around a rickshaw in a suit and tie. That wouldn't make any sense. Could we do a little bit better than maybe some running shorts and a tank top? Probably. Should we maybe in the hot sun maybe bring a change of clothes or two so you're not running around looking all sweaty if you're trying to actually, if you're charging a premium price for something, you can't look less than premium in whatever environment you're in. Okay? So you want to make sure your attire is proper for what you're trying to do. The second thing is, when you lose an opportunity, losing the hotels, super hard. You're thinking to yourself, okay, so I lost the hotels, I lost all my tourists. Is the opportunity over? It's up to you. You get to cut bait or you can double down and figure out, okay, how can I get there? Give me 1 sec. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. We got kicked out, and the highs and lows, including the hotels and the bar scenes and everything else, it's really starting to wear on you. But what do you, okay, the tourists are in the hotels. What do we know about the hotels? Do you guys know what a concierge is? Concierge is somebody who works at a hotel. They work down in the lobby. And what happens is if you're staying at the hotel, you can go down to the concierge and you can say, hey, I'm in the city for a week or so, and I'd like some really cool things to do as a tourist. Can you give me some recommendations? And the concierge has this big thing of pamphlets. Like they have like 100 pamphlets of every major attraction. Because, you know, some people might want to go down and watch a Jays game, but some people would really rather go and see Wicked performed in the theater district. And some people just want to really go get a good meal. And so all these different places come and they give all their pamphlets to the hotel, to the concierge, to say, hey, will you please promote what I'm doing? So you go, okay, wait, so I'm not allowed to be there, but maybe if I could get some pamphlets to one of these concierges, maybe the concierge will start getting there. Okay, so what is it that I'm going to sell? Am I going to try to get the concierge to convince somebody to do $5 per block per person? So the next thing you do is you go, I got to find the concierge. I got to find who the major concierge is, and I'm going to take them out to dinner. I'm going to say, hey, I've got this idea. Can I get some pamphlets in there? The concierge you end up meeting with is actually really smart. So sometimes the great ideas will come from you. Sometimes the great ideas come from somebody else. The concierge says, well, we can't sell this. We can't sell this per block per person. Like they'll get bored and they'll be out right away. So again, you've got to have a really tight product. You've got to know exactly what you're selling. But the concierge says to you, you know what you could do is you could sell a tour. You could sell a tour of downtown. And then you could make it for as long as you want, but you could do, let's say, a 1-hour tour. So, okay, cool. I'm going to do a 1-hour tour of downtown. Round number. What's a round number? Maybe $100? Think you can sell it for $100 an hour tour? Sounds pretty good. Okay, you're thinking to yourself, $100 tour, run them around downtown. It's not as much. You'll certainly make way more. If you were actually getting rides for the whole hour, but we know that you're getting turned down 99 times before somebody says yes. So consistency would be good, but you're making less money. But now here's my next question, you guys. How many people are going to work for $100 an hour right now? We know some of us are going to work for 20. Who's not putting their hand up here? Come on now. So we're going to work for $100 an hour. Okay, so maybe that's a good product. We can make some pamphlets, but you went in, you go into the hotel, and you look at all the pamphlets, and there's 1,000 of them there. Who reads all these? Right. I don't need to read the 1,000 pamphlets. I don't want to. I'm actually just going to ask the concierge. And so I've taken the concierge out to dinner, and now the concierge, we're friends, we're buddies. And so since you've taken them out to dinner, the concierge is now going to recommend what you're selling, right? Is that how that works? Do you think every other 1,000 pamphlets, do you think all those guys took the concierge out to dinner too? Yeah, I think so. Right? Everybody wants the concierge to recommend their stuff. Here's the next question. When you think of your business, who are the key partners? Who are the people that you're going to partner with that are really going to make your business go? How do you take care of them? The next thing, who's your sales force? Early on, it's going to be you. But I want you to think when you're one step further, when you get the first person selling for you, once you start to get a team, who do you need selling for you? And then how do you actually compensate them? How do you make your partners feel loved? How do you make sure that your sales force is properly compensated? How do you make sure everybody's motivated to do what you need them to do in order for your business to be successful?
You pay them.
Yeah, that's number one, right? They got to get paid. So you think to yourself, I've got a great plan. Instead of just taking the concierge out to dinner, what you're going to do is you are going to give them a cut. Every time the concierge sells a $100 tour, you're going to give them a portion of that $100. What do we think? How much of the 100 should we give? Give me some numbers. Throw me out.
20%.
20%. I'm going to give the concierge $20. I think that sounds reasonable because if you Google what a concierge makes right now, they make about $18 an hour. So if you give them 20, that seems good. Anybody want to give them any other number? $25. Aaron says, let's put $25 up there. Okay. Anybody else? Nope. We're either going to give 20 or 25, and that is a good number. Well, I'll tell you what you did when you were 18. You said, I want to make sure this thing moves. I know that this concierge is making $17. You know how they are going to move product for me? You decide you can give them $50 out of every 100. $50 is a lot of money. That is more than 3 hours work for the concierge. Do you think the concierge is going to push your product for $50 every time they move one? Absolutely. Now, there are going to be things that go around this. We talked about professional attire, right? You still can't hang around there, which means that the people are going to have a designated meeting space. You got to work out your logistics. Where is your rickshaw going to be? When is the concierge going to get them there? How are you going to look so you properly represent the hotel? Because what's going to happen when the hotel finds out that the concierge is pocketing a whole bunch of side cash every time he's selling something? Yeah, the concierge is done. So you've got to make it all look like it's on the up and up. Now, making $50 an hour instead of $100, that sounds worse. How many people are willing to work for $50 an hour though? Okay, cool. So now we're rock and rolling. So we've got $50 an hour. How well do you think this went over? This went over really well. After 1 week, your second week of doing this, you were booking 8 hours a day from 8 a.m. all the way till 4 p.m. That was the portion of the day where you were making no money. Once you got past 4 p.m., we were getting tourists, we were getting them to dinner, we were getting to the shows, everything in the evening. But all of a sudden, you were booking 8 one-hour blocks to the point where you had to dial it back. It couldn't be a 1 hour tour anymore. It actually had to be 45 minutes because you had to go get something to eat at some point. You had to rest and get everybody back where they needed to be. And that was okay. Nobody blinked at that. 45-minute tour, $100. You were giving up half of it, so you were making $400. $400 before you actually started making money for the day. Because that real money was going to be made in the evening and then at bar close. Okay. This is excellent. Ultimately, we're doing well. the goal of every rickshaw runner when you were looking out there was if you could make $500 on the Monday, if you got out there and worked your tail off, if you make $500 on the Monday and you pay your rent, that means you get 6 days just to earn straight. Well, this plan that you came up with, you had that by 4 p.m. on Monday. And then you got to go out and actually work. And then everything you made after that, you were good to go. How much were we making at this point? By the time we got that all rolling, well, you were making about $1,000 a day. How many people would be happy? $1,000 a day. If I round that out, that's between $300,000 and $400,000 a year. If you can keep that going. That, I will tell you, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. At that point, you go, man, I made it. Made it. I can't be doing better. 2 months earlier, when you were sure you were broke and you had no idea how you were going to pay your bills, that feels like a different lifetime. Try to think when you were 18. Did you know anybody who was making $1,000 a day? Think about how crazy that is. This is one other thing. This isn't, this doesn't really fit in with the framework of the lesson, but this is something that you're going to have to keep track of. It's one of the reasons why doing something like the accelerator, being around the folks at LEAP becomes really, really important, because the tax mentally that you're going to face and the level where folks won't completely understand what you're going through is going to be really, really high. Because when you're not making it and you're going broke, people won't totally understand. It's like, oh, why don't you just go get a job? And when you do finally make it, and you end up doing a lot better than a lot of the folks who are going to be at the same stage of life that you are, they also won't understand that. And so you'll have to navigate all this. And it's really important that you have a circle like you have at LEAP, where you have other people who are actually going through what you're going through. They don't need to do it at the same time. There will be people who understand being broke, and there will be people who understand making it, and there will be people who understand the struggle that you fight in the middle of it. But you're going to need all those people, because people who aren't trying to start their own businesses, they won't be going through that. They'll deal with totally separate stuff. Okay, so please value each other really highly where you are. Anyway, so you're making $1,000 a day. You are going absolutely crazy, and then you have other events that happen through the summer where you're making way more than that. In Toronto, you have things like Pride, and you have things like Caravana, and it is just absolutely wonderful. And you are thinking to yourself, if you were making that $1,000 a day right now, what would you be thinking to yourself?
Hire more people.
Oh, I need to hire some more people. Sure, that's one. What else? How many people feel pretty good about themselves at that point? How many people are like, I am a genius? Oh my Lord. Right? Yeah, come on. Nobody else is thinking this up. Do you know how much money I'm making? They're not making that money. I am brilliant. Which is fantastic. You made it. You're a genius. When you start asking questions like, okay, do I want to hire more people? The next questions that come when you realize that you made it. How do I sustain it? Is this sustainable? Sorry, gang, that's my wife back there. That's Carrie. You look at it and you say, is this sustainable? Is it something that can go on? As soon as you make it, the second thing, and I'm sure you folks talk about this at LEAP, how do you protect it? Because your competition is coming. If they don't exist now, the moment you show that something is viable, they're coming. How do you protect what you do from them? Right? Do you need things like patents or copyrights? Obviously, in a thing like a rickshaw business, those aren't going to exist. But for yours, they just might. And then the second thing is, okay, so we're rock and rolling, but how do I go forward? Do you have a plan for going forward? In the case of your rickshaw story, you are about to move on. You're about to go in. You're about to go to school after this. So your plan actually can only last until September. Some businesses are going to be scalable, which means they can start small, they can go big, they can go small again. Some are going to be seasonal. In this case, this is seasonal because it's just in the summertime. Some are going to be full-time, and some of them are going to be a side hustle or a hobby or however you want to do it. Every business can function. Everyone can have a different model. But this goes back to, how do you know if you're successful? In this case, you go, okay, I need to go back to school in September, but do I? Like, if you're making $1,000 a day, would you go to school? What do you know about your target market? Do you think all these tourists are going to exist in September? Or is summer tourist season? Man, it's going to be so amazing. You're going to make all this, and then it's just going to go, and then it's just going to be gone. Then it's going to be over. There are folks who run rickshaws, and they do it all over the globe. They travel continent to continent. They never stop because it's there. Because if you can figure out where the tourist season is when, everywhere, you can move around. But this is the next part. Where's your business going to take you? Is part of what you're doing for your business, do you want to be geographic centric? Most of us who are part of this right now, we're in London. Do you want to stay in London? Most of us, maybe if we didn't come from London, maybe you're from someplace else. Is that where you're going back to? Do you want to stay there? Do you want a job that's going to take you all over the world, or do you want stability of staying in one place? Again, there's no right answer here, but all the businesses will do different things. They'll take you to different places. You don't need hard and fast answers, but you do need to think about them to say, okay, what would happen if that happened? And so in this case, you know you're going to school. You know what? I think by the end of the summer, I'm actually going to bank enough to pay my entire way through school. Then I can go to school and not be freaked out on financials, which is generally speaking where everybody is. So do you have a growth strategy, or does it just end? Do you wrap it up? Do you wind it up? Do you have to? That's one of those things that you want to think about. And that was how the rest of summer was. You were right, actually. You were a genius. I mean, who was smarter than you? You were making that money. You were doing well. Well, hold on. If you haven't figured this out yet, everybody is really a genius. You let people do the thing they're supposed to do. They're really smart. They're really good at it. Until, of course, you look at somebody who makes the thing that you do really well look like it's only sort of average. So I told you, if you're making $1,000 a day, you were making $7,000 a week, right? That's really great. It's really great. Let me take you back. Very beginning of the story. Vanessa introduces you to Stubbs, who you rent your rickshaw from, right? Okay, so Stubbs owns a garage. And in the garage, there were 200 rickshaws. And Stubbs doesn't have to go out running around the streets all day. He actually just owns a garage and some rickshaws. A rickshaw costs about $2,000 if you want to buy one, which means that in a month of renting a rickshaw, Stubbs had paid off that rickshaw that I rented from him. Everything he made after that was profit. 200 rickshaws, $500 per week. I was making $7,000 per week. How much money was Stubbs making? I see lips moving, but I think people are muted. Somebody get their calculator. Tell me, how much was Stubbs making?
$1,000 a week, I think. I just did it in my head real quick. So
yeah, about $100,000, right? Yeah. You sure you're a genius? Or
Stubbs is a genius.
Stubbs is on top of things. I'll give you the quick backstory on Stubbs. So Stubbs started. He was selling tickets. He was scalping tickets. He moved that into rickshaws. He ran a rickshaw for 2 years, and he realized, wait a second, I think there's a growth opportunity here. He went down to Florida. He bought 200 rickshaws. He drove them back and forth on a truck and trailer. 1 year, set up business, and then went out there. And do you remember that amazingly attractive person who came in and found you working in a Foot Locker? And like, she was just really cool, right? Like, she helped you out because you were a good salesperson, something, more, story, something. Actually, what did Stubbs do? Stubbs found really good recruiters. He found Vanessa. He said, every single person that you get to come in here, if they start rickshawing and they make it for a month, so the moment that I paid my 4th rent check, Vanessa got $500. Stubbs had nobody renting from him. He found 10 people, Vanessa and 9 others, who went out and recruited people to go and do this thing. And by that summer, he had 200 rickshaws going out. He had $100,000 coming in every single week. It's $1 million that summer. I was excited about $300,000 for the year. He did $1 million in the summer. Okay, so 2 things. Number 1, you got to have that confidence. You got to be able to look at yourself and go, yeah, I am a genius. And then you got to have that humility to look around and go, all right, I'm not. It's how it goes, right? All those things are really, really important. What do we have? I think I have all that. I have a little bit of an epilogue that I'll tell you. I'm gonna see if you guys have any questions about that, because there are tons of questions that surround that story. In my final week in August, when we talk about what's sustainable and what can be done, the major thing that business hinged on was the concierge. The concierge really worked. I could make the other money. It would be a fine business. It would be okay. Just working bar clothes and just working tourists and being really erratic, it would be all right. But the thing that really made it go and made it work was the concierge. The concierge got busted last week of August. And what happens when something like that happens is it becomes problematic across the board, because they bust that concierge, and then the hotels, because they're on the same industry, they all talk to each other, and every rickshaw was banned from anywhere within 100 yards of a hotel. And every concierge was put on severe warning, so that like some of those pamphlet guys were paying the concierge like $2 for every ticket. Concierges couldn't collect on anything. So it really created a whole ripple through something that ultimately didn't affect the business. However, it did cause more. When you think about sustainability, if you're not doing things perfectly clean and perfectly right, it can't last. And so you've got to be ready for that. If you take a shortcut, you have to be ready to deal with the consequences that go with that. Yeah. So that's it. That's most of the story. So the concierge got busted at the end of August. I moved out to the Maritimes and started going to school, and that's where the story ends. That was my very first business. Any questions?
I have one, Dave.
Yeah, fire away.
So after all was said and done, how much did you make after that summer?
Same question.
Same question. I just want to know those dollars. What would I tell you? The number was on average about $1,000 per day. So I would guess by the time I was really rolling, I guess about 50 to 60K.
In the summer?
Yeah. Like I would have started. So Vanessa came and recruited me. I think it'd be about the middle of May. And then part of the way the story sort of ebbs and flows is trying to make it all run smoothly. But like stuff really does. I'm sure Dave and Kelsey and Andre, you talk to these guys about it. Like when it hits, it hits. When stuff starts to work, it doesn't slowly ramp up. You go dead, boom at 100. So I think things really started rolling for me. I would say maybe the end of June. Canada Day, I remember being really big. Pride was really big. Carabana was massive. Ton of international there. But if I was going to guess a round number, yeah. And so, hold on, I did have other things. So when you make it and a ton comes in, don't be an idiot with it. Like you will be, but like actually save it. Keep operating like a smart person. But it'll be hard. The first day you make way too much money, you'll go and buy a whole bunch of stuff you don't need, and don't do that. I have other things. 3 things. I'm going to tell you how to live a good life. How many people really want somebody telling them how to live a good life? Okay. Here are 3 things for you. Number 1, and this isn't. I'm not trying to get crazy here. Number 1, just stay active. Right? If you have something like a rickshaw business, you're going to be active. But make some time to keep your body active. Do that. The rickshaw thing took care of itself. Number 2, you got to get your sleep. Everybody's going to get their sleep differently. Everybody doesn't get to sleep from 10 until 6 a.m. and get their 8 hours. When I was rickshawing, because I worked bar clothes, I was usually asleep at around 4 a.m. and I had to be up for that first tour at 8 a.m. So that was 4 hours. I grabbed the other 3 hours at around 10 p.m. at night, and I'd sleep in Stubbs' garage, and I would get about 3 hours until 1 a.m. and then I'd get back out there and work bar clothes. You got to get sleep. You will have a crazy level of excitement about your business. Sometimes it'll be hard to sleep. Your business will generally be the last thing you think about before you fall asleep. It'll be the first thing you think about when you wake up, and you will dream about it. You got to get that rest. And the last one was, you got to stay on top of your nutrition. There's 3 ways to do that. Number 1, you just got to eat. You have to keep food in your system. It can be garbage. One of the first things that Stubbs told me as a rickshaw runner was, you can eat whatever you want. There's going to be people on diets. There's people who try to eat healthy. You are going to run all day. You're going to be in the hot sun. You will burn through every single thing that you eat. So eat whatever you want. You want to eat 12 street dogs, go right to it. If you want to drink 4 liters of Coke, go right to it. So step 1 is, you got to keep stuff in your system. That's correct. However, somebody telling you should eat garbage, that's wrong. Don't do any of that. Once you've established that you can get your food, try to eat healthy, right? And healthy is gonna vary depending on who you are. Some people can do plant-based everything, which is amazing. Some people want protein. That's really great. But just do it reasonably. If you have the choice to eat something healthy versus eat some junk food, don't eat the chocolate bar, because you'll do that. You'll be sitting here like this, doing this all day, and you'll have chocolate bars by your computer, and you will eat them. Don't do that. Keep some celery by your computer. Do something like that.
I definitely resonate with that one. Health and trying to stay healthy while you're in your business can be very, very tough, depending on, how each of your workload it really is. I know, like Aaron, you're in front of the computer a lot, right? And it's easy to watch 16 hours go by and you haven't seen the sun, you haven't eaten anything but Mr. Noodles. It's easy. And even in my, when I started my first company, I was outside. I was similar, outside all day, hot sun, no shade. I was in the middle of a giant lake most of the time. So if I didn't bring the right food to prepare, that was just, tough shit. And I did that for like 4 straight years of, just being unhealthy, dehydrated. But when you're young and you have that passion and that drive, it's like you just deal with it and you go. But looking back at that, that's not, if I can instill that into other people, don't do that. Prepare and make your health take precedent before your business, because your business will come and go. It will not be your whole life. Your life is your life. Your health is your health, and that is always the most important thing. So be cautious of that. Don't let it just fall to the wayside.
But here's a real question, right? Because this is totally the wisdom of age. Like, hey, got old, got stability, that makes sense. How realistic is it? Do you think it is? It's like, man, when you're in it, you're trying to do your business. You're not trying to think about anything else, right? Like, man, we got Uber Eats. I don't even need to get up out of this chair. They're gonna deliver.
That's very true.
It's not great anyway. Dave's right.
Working in my garage, man. I'm like spending like 8 hours just working away. I'm like, fuck, I haven't even ate yet today. So you just get caught up, and you don't even think about it. You're like, fuck, I'm hungry, man.
And so what do you eat?
And first thing that you find, bag of chips.
That's exactly right. So, and this is where preparation comes in, right? So you get the bag of chips so that you're full, and then you go, I can't do this tomorrow. Make sure you go, and so the first thing you grab, whatever is around, make sure it's good. But you won't, because you'll go, okay, now back to work. And you won't think about your food ever again. Yeah, other questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Like, so why did you switch? Or like,
why did I switch from what?
Rickshaw into.
Oh, why did I stop doing it?
Yeah.
So number 1 was I went to school.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I didn't think any of it was sustainable. I didn't know how I was going to get that. I didn't know how I was going to get that consistency if I went back the next summer. And to be totally honest, there's a whole lot else that goes with running around in the streets all day for a whole summer. And it was like really, it was really awful on my mind. And the next summer I was really fortunate because I had a little bit of financial stability from that one summer. A basketball camp down in the United States paid me to come and be a coach, and they didn't pay very much. And it was, I'm trying to think what they gave me, but I think I made more in a week rickshaw than I did in the summer, that next summer. But it was really excellent in the sense that it let me just chill and recover. Like it legitimately took me a year from that experience. And the guys who can do it and do it on 5 continents and move, the strength they have mentally is ridiculous. I'll be honest, I didn't know it at the time, because you're just, like you guys are with your business, you're in it, you're doing it. It's just what it is. It was when I got away from it and realized, holy cow, my head is totally twisted right now. All the things, like I told you, the stories where you go, should you do a job where there's no insurance? Like, no, you shouldn't do that. Should you do something where you are trying to pitch to people who are coming out of a bar? Like, no, you shouldn't do that. Should your sales pitch potentially involve somebody trying to fight you? No, like, absolutely, that's dumb. Like, all of this is just beyond stupid. But like I said, when you're in the middle of it, you don't necessarily make those decisions. And the hope is that, either you get somebody telling you like this, hey man, think that through, don't do that. Or the other part is, you're going to get through that with this business, and then whatever the next business is, hopefully you learn, and then you don't do those same things over again. But a lot of it has to do, when I ask like what defines success, being really happy with it is really important. One of the hard things for everybody who said, the thing that'll define success is that this is a thing that I love. Don't ever lose the thing that you love. Like, don't let it become work, right? That you don't want that. And so finding the balance between money and happiness, every single person who's run their business will tell you that, but it's so easy to say it, and it's so hard to do.
I think sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
At the beginning, you mentioned that you worked for IBM in the tech industry. Like,
I did.
So what were you doing there? Or like,
so I started. So I'll tell you, this is, I don't know if you saw the folks running through here, but I have 3 children, and my children are 3, 4, and 6. So they're little, but I really struggle with like the story I just told you. Because I had a career at IBM, and it was fantastic, and it actually set me up for everything else in my life, which is to now come and be a teacher and get to do stuff like this. But the reason I got my career at IBM going is I had my very first hiring manager called me up and wanted to interview me for an internship, and she asked me, all the standard questions. The interview goes for about an hour, and it's cool, and they give me this job. Anyway, you guys know in tech support, when your phone breaks and you have to call in and somebody goes, hey, thanks for calling tech support. Can I start with your name and phone number? So that was where I started. And what happened, I found out a couple of years later. So I kind of worked my way from there. And my manager says, it's really funny. When I gave you the interview, I had to do like a dozen interviews, and you weren't what I was looking for, but I saw that you ran a rickshaw on your resume. And I just wanted to talk to a guy who had ran a rickshaw. And so like, I'm going to do 12 interviews. If one of them has nothing to do with anything, I have 11 that are like 11 of them are going to be the same. And this one over here, whatever, like, it's just, she was basically doing it to take a break in her day. And then anyway, the interview went really well. And she was like, well, I got to find something for this guy, but I don't know what to do. And so she was like, you know what? I'm going to throw him down there answering phones, most entry-level position we have. And if he fights his way out, then he can stay. And if he can't cut it, then he'll be gone. And so it worked out, and things kind of went. But like so that I'm very clear in this story, because sometimes I tell the rickshaw story and people are like, man, that's so much money. Let's get on that. Like, I need my children not to do that. Like, that as a father, that's one of my number one goals. Don't do what I did. But the second part of that is I get to say that now because I feel like everything has really worked out. My life is really, really good. But none of that happens if I don't do that first. And so you go, yeah, you got to get to what I got to, but differently. Do it in a whole different way. And that part's tricky. Sorry, did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Does anyone else have any questions? I think Charlene, you had your hand up earlier. You look like you're occupied there.
Sorry. Yeah, I was just wondering what happened to like Stubbs. What is he doing now? Because I actually don't see too many rickshaws around. I know they're still in New York and stuff, but there used to be like probably 20 years ago, a ton of them.
Right.
And that's probably when you're talking. And now you might see one or two.
So it is a wonderful question. So number one, if you see rickshaws in Toronto, now most of them are the bicycle ones. So there's nobody pulling them. They're usually biking. And Stubbs evolved, and he has I would call it an empire, but he started with an ad agency, and now he has a production company, and he has like a multimedia empire going, and it is like really one of the most phenomenal. He is a person that will just absolutely not be denied. He will not ever sit still. If I told you, hey man, we can go make $1 million every summer, wouldn't you just be like, yeah, that sounds good? Like, I'm good with that. There's not a single part of him that was good with that. Say that again. Oh, you might be on mute.
Oh, that's okay. Keep going.
No, say that one more time.
Oh, my daughter asked me a question, and I was telling her to wait. I'm still doing this. Just wait. I'm sorry.
So moral of the story, be like Stubbs? Is that what we're learning here?
I'm not. This is where I wrestle with this story. I'm not sure you should be like anybody in this story. This is like Breaking Bad. You should not cheer for anybody here.
So is he still doing the rickshaws, or did he move on because he didn't have insurance and he got in trouble, or?
That is a reasonable question. I don't know the answer to that. I would say he probably built it and sold it. I would say he probably showed a cash flow that was doing 7 figures a year, and somebody else probably bought it from him, and he probably took that and tried to get more legitimate. If I were guessing,
That'd be a smart move. I have one other comment, Dave. Before we have to head off, I want to give everybody a break after this. But one of the things that kind of really hit home for me during your story was the concept of vulnerabilities in your business. Obviously, in this model, the Rickshaw model, there's a lot of vulnerabilities. But the one key one that really stood out to me was your reliance on the concierge.
Mm-hmm.
That's a key thing. Like, obviously, not particular to this story, but when you're thinking about your own businesses, especially at these early stages where you have the ability to kind of shape and change your framework, is making sure that you've thought through these possible vulnerabilities. I talk about it like almost like a domino effect. If your whole business model is linchpinning on one key thing, and that if you pull that out, the whole thing crumbles, that is not a good thing. So it's good to reflect on, if there's a lot of things to reflect on in this story, but one of the things that I think about is reflect on that. Think about that as you're looking at your own business in your own time and say, is there something here that if I removed it, that whole thing just doesn't work? And figure out, that's good why we do contingency planning. COVID is a good example. If we can't be face-to-face, does my whole business completely cease to exist? Right? So there's lots of times where that could happen, and you can't plan for everything. But if you're making a key partnership, or you've got a key supplier or a key manufacturer, or there's a piece of technology you need where nothing works without it, it's good diligence for you to prepare for that if it were to ever just disappear.
Absolutely. The one other one that it's not really a key part of the story, but that is worth pointing out, like you want to look for legal vulnerabilities in your business as well, right? So the rickshaw thing is like, it is Swiss cheese. It is the most vulnerable thing. It's got so many holes in it, and it just happened to work out. But what happens if you decide that your clientele is going to be people coming out of a bar who are kind of stumbling, and you go, yeah, I don't need that insurance because the bar is going to cut me in half, something, whatever. What happens if one of those people decides they're going to stand up in the rickshaw, fall off the back, and get hit by a car? Right? If your business isn't lined up You're going to get sued. You're going to lose everything. You're going to feel horrible, among other things. You really want to look at sort of what your risk profile is and how much risk you are exposed to and what kind of things could happen. And that's going to be every business, no matter what.
That's a super good point, Dave. And we actually have, there will be someone joining us towards the end of the program. We'll talk a little bit about kind of those legal aspects and possible legal vulnerabilities in each of our models. So
excellent.
Dave, I've got a quick question for you before I let you go. Did Vanessa
hey, Kels.
go on a date with you?
What's that?
Did Vanessa ever agree to go on a date with you?
Absolutely not. Are you kidding me?
You know, you had to ask.
But can I tell you something though? This is the one thing I'll throw in, because Vanessa wasn't just a recruiter. She had ran the Rickshaw the summer before. And when I say, like, I hope my kids don't do this. When I started, I was so jealous. So I went from being totally infatuated with this girl to being so jealous, because she was actually the one who put me on a bar clothes. And she only worked bar clothes. And she showed up. She would show up at 1 a.m, and she could come out dressed like she was going to the club that night as a rickshaw runner, and she was in great shape, and she was an absolute knockout. And like, she could basically just be asleep outside a bar and get work. It was ridiculous. I had to work my tail off, and literally she would bat her eyes at somebody coming out, and let's go. And she made so much, and I was like, oh my goodness, why can't I do that? Like, this is total nonsense. And now, so again, this is just wisdom of age, right? Now I look back and go, oh my God, if my daughter was ever in that situation, like, there was so much inherent danger, so much more inherent danger for her than for me. It legitimately terrifies me. So yeah, no, Vanessa and I did become friends, which was good. And we did actually go to the movies together. That was also good, but not like that. It was actually me and her and Stubbs, and Stubbs was trying to get me to become a recruiter. And I said, nope. Unfortunately, the amount of time that it takes me to recruit, I can make way too much out there than I can. Like, I'll tell people if you want, but I'm not going to log any hours doing it.
That's awesome.
I should, you know what? I say that. Sorry, I'm going to alter that story. Can I wind that back?
Okay.
Sure.
Pretend I didn't tell you any of that. Did you see the woman who walked by? I said was my wife.
Yes.
That's Vanessa.
Are you serious?
I wanted to yell that out.
Absolutely
What do
not.
I have to say about that?
What's that? What?
I was gonna say that's a major plot twist right there. Oh my God.
Yeah, and this is where I say the story is all based on fact. I had to change the names and stuff. That might be. What do we think? Would the story be better the next time I tell it if Vanessa becomes my wife?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's how the story changes.
or the fact that Vanessa is Stubbs' wife. I think that would be a good twist too.
That could also go. Yeah. Maybe that's how that turns out. I like that. Okay.
Well,
cool. Thank you so much. This has been awesome. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave. We really enjoyed the storytelling. It's a complete different format that we're really going to have throughout this whole program, and I really loved going through that with you. I like the style of casual learning. So thanks so much for sharing your story with us and taking the time. I know that it's difficult for you to get on Zoom calls right now during this current situation, so I really appreciate you making the effort. And I'm really happy that you're able to meet all these awesome people. And I would love it if I could share your contact details with everybody, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Do some networking. So I'll make sure I'll put your profile in our online kind of Rolodex. And with that, everybody give Dave a nice farewell. Thank you, Dave.
Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Take it easy, gang. Thank you all very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Dave. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, later, man.
Take care. And I know before we go to our bathroom break, I think Kelsey, you wanted to talk a little bit about a housekeeping issue.
Yeah, we can talk about it after though, if that works better. Yeah, like we'll just do it now. So